Now, this video was a long time coming, and while it is a bit late, I promise I have a good excuse. I was watching both seasons of Invincible and a bit of The Boys, and my graduation only happened on June 14th. As a graduated high school senior, I found it cathartic to voice my issues with American schools, specifically American public high schools. Days upon days, I would be mad I just had to go. Just being there made me feel fucking lifeless. Originally, I was going to title this video, American School is Awful, but then I realized that it could be way worse. I mean, we're 10th on the planet in terms of a public school system. Most people can read and most people go through their day-to-days just fine. But man, for a $927 billion budget, which is actually higher than the GDP of Turkey, nearly a fucking trillion, that money is going to waste. Let's start with where all the issues even stem from. How schools get their funding. The main systems here in the United States are that public schools receive funding dependent on the property taxes paid by residents within the area of the school, and private schools receive funding from donors and tuition. Except, there is one glaring issue with how public schools are funded that is somewhat hidden. I don't know if you can spot it, but how the fuck are the public schools in poor regions going to be able to afford anything? Not everyone is laying on money like Mr. Krabs. As a matter of fact, there are many people who are just underwater right now, and at least in situations like these.
Welcome to Carmel High School. Join us on a tour.
This is the auditorium.
This is the Commons.
This is the catwalk.
This is the planetarium.
This is Senior Hallway. This is our Carmel High School Library.
This is the Carmel Cafe and Market.
This is the Auto Shop.
This is the wood shop.
Main cafeteria.
This is our 3-story freshman center.
This is CHTV.
This is our live radio.
This is the yearbook room.
So while these motherfuckers get a cafe, a live radio room, an auto shop, and a yearbook room decked out with Macs, a different school within Indiana, 11 days later reported 12 mouse shits in the school cafeteria. Teachers also like their jobs less because they get absolutely stiffed on pay and don't even receive pay during the summer. Public entities are not supposed to be profitable. Public entities are supposed to be for the greater good. This operation of school, like it's owned by BlackRock, only stands to fuck everything up. It is no wonder why schools can't find any teachers. If I had to deal with these kids with zero home training to come home and starve daily, grade their shittily done, low effort work, and prepare lesson plans that they won't care about, I would be driven up the walls and telling everyone to not pursue this career. They say that drill rap is not designed to last due to all drill rappers dying, and you could definitely apply this theory to education jobs because man, these teachers' souls are long gone at this point. All they wanted to do was help the world, and this is how they get repaid. I mean shit, you can't even call it a repayment. They aren't getting paid! On the topic of things that school boards do not pay much for, school lunch is next on the list. School lunches for the vast majority of children are bad for their health and just generally low quality, because schools have to cheap out on the food, because school districts have to feed kids at, on average, wait for it, $1 per meal. In this economy, what are you feeding the kids? Gravel? Well, actually that might be healthier than what they already do. Due to schools having only $1 to feed kids, they have to skip on things like meat options sometimes. I have had multiple days in which there was no meat option and we just had mozzarella sticks as the main entree. Fried carbs in place of chicken is definitely not healthy, but wait, it gets worse. While lunchtime may be as bad as you can see here, breakfast is worse because cereal companies with tens of billions of dollars have schools by the balls and give schools discounts. How generous. Sugary bullshit dyed with God knows what, sold to schools to get kids hooked before those little bastards even know what happened. And, if anything, I really don't want to sound ungrateful. I get that many children go hungry during school meal times, but even looking at developing countries, they are doing way better than us with school food. When I lived in Brazil as a kid, I literally had feijoada for lunch at a kindergarten I was going to. American public schools could never. It was so good, I even fought a kid for it. I like to think that it was younger me predicting that 80% of my school lunches would be bad. It is no wonder why 21% of Americans are illiterate and 54% have a reading level below the 6th grade, when their brains weren't getting the right fuel. How are they supposed to pay attention when their brains are all over the place from the sugar? Speaking of brains being all over the place, I don't know if you've read the news as of late, but there are kinda school shootings happening here. Due to Americans being insane and having access to guns, a few kids die painfully every once in a while. And now schools try everything they can to keep kids from going to heaven the Chicago way. They tried clear backpacks, more security. They even suggested having the teachers carry guns. Due to this fear, American schools have security measures, and it just felt odd 24/7. Everywhere I went in the halls, there would always be so many cameras. Even in classes where they didn't have cameras, I would always check to see if they worked. Also, for 500 days, I had to get my bag checked as soon as I walked into the building. They had metal detectors at the front, and teachers checking bags like it was the TSA at 7:10 in the morning, looking for the next little terrorist, I guess. And to top it off, it was kind of useless because it was somehow even worse than the TSA. The teachers had at max 20 seconds to search through a bag top to bottom. Well, children do fear bullet speed. The fear that is most present in everyone's life in American school is the general speed. In 4 years, you have to decide what it is you are going to do for the rest of your life. Also, I don't know if the school board has heard, but teens are pretty stupid. There have been entire studies done to show that teens have pretty bad decision-making skills. So it's just like, why is there all this pressure? Like, why do you have to just like immediately get on with things and go to like some trade school or some college or something like that, instead of just like taking time and maybe joining the workforce, man? Like, they just told us to rush in the shit for some reason. I don't get it. And there are plenty of bad decisions to make during high school. You could drink, you could do hard drugs, or you could do the lamest and somehow most expensive one. You could give College Board your money. Oh yeah, and for anyone watching overseas, in case this Yap Fest makes it there, College Board is just an American company that sells standardized exams. My family sacrificed just over $1,000 to them for my SAT and AP exams. I thought more about it and I realized just how stupid of a concept AP exams are. If you get a 5, you can skip certain gen eds in college and just shorten your time in general. And I just thought to myself, so you're telling me I'm gonna throw money at this bullshit corporation just to sacrifice an actually nice time in my life, instead of the Fed telling universities, hey, why don't you not make school cost $1 gajillion a year? And to top it off, schools have decided to go even further and try and make as many majors as possible to keep attracting more students and make more money. Like, so many of these majors just prey on the fact that people have no clue what they're going to do at 18 years old. And I feel like many of these majors could be eliminated, put in more specialized schools, or just put under certain just umbrella major. Nothing against gender studies, art studies, or African American studies majors, but like, man, why don't schools just make these minors or have a major with that specialization? Just give everyone who graduates in these majors a history degree with a focus in X and call that a day. What job prospects do any of these specific ass majors guarantee? Business major as a whole just needs to be eliminated. It is the dumbest shit ever. People even go to grad school to major in this 2 + 2 = 4 ass major. Also, just put art as a major in specific schools dedicated to art. There are a bunch of misguided motherfuckers right now thinking that a piece of paper from Harvard that says, yes, this person can draw, that costs $320,000 is worth it. And that is simply unjust. On the topic of which, university prices are just ridiculous. And I'm not just talking about the high-level schools like Brown University or UPeng, but just generally, university pricing in the United States has gotten ridiculous, especially dorms. Penn State University, a public university in a town of about 41,000, is charging, wait for it, $40K a year for tuition and $13K a year for dorms. Hang on, don't worry. For people who live in Pennsylvania, the tuition is cut in half. Sure, there is financial aid. Oh, wait, no, it was awful this year. Sure, there might be financial aid next year, but my god, 13 grand for a PSU dorm? 13 grand? For what? This single is smaller than a Guantanamo Bay cell. And good luck with roommates, It's either you sacrifice your privacy or sanity with this solitary confinement ass dorm. Now, I know what you might say, but wait, there's financial aid. 13.2% of Penn State students have trouble finding adequate housing. And to top it off, if you think to yourself, oh, public school is bad, I need to save up money for my children to go to private school, or just homeschool them. Well, then you run the risk of what they learn being creationist, anti-science, anti-logic, and anti-reason bullshit. Unless you are really rich, then you can just throw money at a bunch of private tutors, but good luck trying to get kids to socialize with your kid when your kid develops a habit of slicing animals open. I'm not saying public school is all bad. Hell, I'd go off on a limb and say it is better than every other alternative of schooling, which leaves children batshit crazy. I would have talked more on the bullying that happens in American public schools, but it is just as bad in private schools, and that's a video for a different time. There is a solution to all these issues, and it is incredibly easy. Tell parents to stop getting their kids on iPads way too soon, take federal money away from defense, give it to states to allocate to schools to pay teachers more, and the Fed should also subsidize food for schools and create guidelines on what children can and cannot be fed. While I do not have much faith that any elected official has anything on their mind aside from somehow finding more money to throw at Israel, I do still have some hope. Check in the description for a letter you can send to your local elected official if you live in the States. It's just problem after problem with American schools and universities, and I try to look on the bright side and think, hey, this will prepare me for life and give me good opportunities. But at what cost? Our tax system is bad, leading to professors being underpaid, leading to a higher likelihood of them just fucking hating us. The food we eat when we eat from school leaves our brains in a frenzy with the overwhelming sugars and simple carbs. We walk in scared of any loud noises like we're veterans, and university is deathly expensive. Though, at least once we get out of universities, our skills will be irreplaceable. Oh, right. I mean, to be fair, most of the stuff that AI produces is kind of slop, but I don't think it really matters to companies now that profits are kind of at an all-time high. So, that's not really a good note to end off on. Alright, well, see ya!